Eugene School District 4J. I'm the district librarian here, and I have my buddy here is grabbing something for me because I realized that my phone is probably going to die mid Zoom here. So she's going to charge while we're not showing you around. But yeah, and so I will let her, this is my buddy Julie, I'll let her introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Julie Hopkins. I run the
Hello, that'd be me.
We'll get ourselves settled here.
There we go.
I run the library at Howard Elementary in North Eugene. Our school size typically is around 500 kids. So we're the second largest elementary school in the district, I believe.
Yeah, she's our library superstar. Eugene has 22 elementary schools, and she's the only school where we have a full-time library staff. Yeah. So.
I see all my classes in a normal year. I see all my classes every week. Right now during hybrid, we're doing alternate weeks, but I see all my kids.
Rock star. That is amazing. Okay, we're going to keep on bopping around with the introductions. Andreas, you're next on my screen. Go for it.
Yeah, hello. My name is Andreas. I'm here at the Siuslaw Middle School, and yeah, this is my third year here. I guess something that's awesome is, I mean, we're in hybrid now, so we're actually able to see kids in person, and that makes it a lot easier to kind of get through, and really it really encourages me to see kids really enjoying books and seeing them in person again. So.
Thank you so much. Laura, you are next on my screen. Go for it.
Hi, I'm Laura Axon. I'm at Selwood Middle School in Portland Public Schools, and I'm also at Forest Park Elementary, but this library is my Selwood Middle School library. So I'm serving about 1,000 kids. This library, well, I'll show you later on the tour. It's under construction to become a classroom. And I used to work in Eugene at Fox Hollow Charlemagne in the French immersion program. I'm dual endorsed library in French.
That is amazing. Thank you so much. Miss Julia, you're next.
Hello, I'm Julia from the Siuslaw Elementary School and Library. And I've been here about 6 years in the library. I'm trying to think if this is my 23rd year here at the school. But this is my favorite playpen so far.
Julia's amazing. She's also a former student from Siuslaw as well. Next up for introductions is Elizabeth. Go for it.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth. I'm the library aide at Siuslaw High School, and this is actually like my 5th week here. I'm filling in for Hope while she's gone. So yeah.
And she's doing an amazing job. She'll talk about all the weeding and genreifying we've been doing over in that school in just a bit. Next on my screen is Heidi. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name's Heidi Sumner. I live in McMinnville, Oregon, and we only have 2 middle schools in McMinnville, and I'm the librarian at both schools. And I'm not sharing my space today. I'm just here peering in to see all of you all. So
thank you so much for joining us. And Miss Pia, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Pia Allende, and I work at the Elton Gregory Middle School in Redmond, Oregon. I'm a certified librarian. I have a master in library science, but I am a classified because the district doesn't believe in classes and certified librarian. But I have been in Redmond. I was here as the head librarian in the high schools in between 2006 and 2009. But then they laid me off, and I decided to go to Spain, and I worked there in an IB school that was from pre-K to 12. And I came back in 2019, and I worked for a year, I guess half a year, in John Tack, an elementary school. And then I moved in October to Elton Gregory. And I'm going to show you, I mean, it's not like my library is the greatest, but I'm just proud of all the reading I did.
You bet. Thanks so much for introducing yourself. Pia, did I meet you at a Future Ready conference at some point?
Probably, yeah. I've been attending a bunch of webinars. I think that is one of the things I like of COVID, that at least I can attend a bunch of stuff for free.
Absolutely. And did I miss anybody? I feel like I got everybody. Oh, Colleen, I've got to admit someone real quick. While I'm doing that, we'll have Colleen introduce herself in a second. I'm going to do a quick screen share. And that was a perfect segue, because I love to find silver linings. We have to find silver linings in all the things, through a pandemic. And definitely one of the silver linings is the access to professional development and the access to our peers across the state, across the country. So thank you for joining us in this little experiment. And we actually, Pia, I feel like you were in my breakout room at that Future Ready conference, and I feel like we talked about this. We're like, why aren't we doing virtual tours of each other's libraries? Like, we need to do that. So thank you for joining us in this journey. And did we get Colleen in? Colleen, if you can hear me, do you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Oh, I would be happy to. Thank you, Jennifer, for inviting me. My name is Colleen Henry. I am the Interim Director of Instructional Technology, which part of my duties also include supervising the library operation in Sweet Home School District. And I think we're part of Lynn County, so we will be in Region 2. So I'm super excited to attend virtually everyone's tours today. And thank you for having me.
You bet. And Colleen, I met you at Future Ready as well, correct? Your Sweet Home?
That's right. Yeah, that was a great workshop.
Yeah. Okay, Future Ready has been our lifeline. And quick little teaser, Amy Page and I agreed to what do we call it? What are we calling ourselves? Co-hosting the OASL conference for next school year. And we think we were talking about themes for next year's conference, and we're like, Library Lifeline has got to be part of the theme, and Future Ready needs to be part of the theme. So stay tuned for more info there. So we will go ahead and get started. Oh yes, Laura, yes, go ahead.
The district librarian in Portland Public Schools, Susan Stone, is trying to get into the meeting. Can you invite her? Sorry. Oh, you're muted now.
Okay, let me go ahead and get, yes, I will invite her while I'm talking. And and I will get that in just a second. Please let her know that I'm not ignoring her.
Okay.
And then I'm going to go ahead and get Julia started on her tour, because she's got to hop into another meeting. Everyone, I think you can see my screen. I'll quit screen sharing in just a second. But here's our little tentative timeline. We're going to go through Siuslaw Elementary, Middle, High. And everyone, it's so funny. When I put this out on the listserv, everyone's like, oh no, we're weeding, or my library has become a storage space for all the things in the school, or etc. We're all in the same situation, so don't feel like, we all have amazing things to share. I love it's the video. What's ordinary to you is extraordinary to someone else. So the things that we go about doing on our day-to-day are just so natural to us. We don't realize how amazing we are or how amazing our spaces are. So just for those of you giving tours, just give us your highlights. I would encourage everyone, here's our order: Siuslaw, Redmond, Portland, Eugene. I put in the chat already a link to this Padlet. And here's our Oregon, and this is our Padlet of all of the PD sessions we've done this school year. So feel free to look at all that. And then I thought that, we can just feel free during each tour to add a comment to the Padlet, and you can name it like Siuslaw, and just give people shout outs and awesome feedback. When I work with my middle school kids, I always set a star and a wish. I mean, just feel free to give feedback. We are all friends. We are just sharing the love. So I'm going to stop screen sharing. I will get that individual in just a second, and then I'm going to mute myself now. And Miss Julia, I'm going to hand it off to you to go ahead and give us a whirl of your space.
Okay. Switching around. This is my awesome doorway here. And I have a great workroom in the back, lots of space back there. But this is where a lot of the work happens here, is right in my little circulation desk area. And the kids pretty much are at this point following the dots and going into the nonfiction part of the library, to where I have them spaced out at this point. And I'm usually standing up at this spot right here and projecting a book up there or talking about something. We have a great nonfiction section here. And I'm always bragging to everyone that I actually have the best view of anybody in this school. I love this courtyard. It's fun to watch things bloom here. I like to set out lots of different baskets of collections of things so kids can find them easily. It's a lot of fun for them, the most popular books. My OBOB books here. And the fun little easy picture book section for the kids.
Wait, say something about that unicorn, Julia.
That is part of one of my book fairs photo booths. And I have another one coming over here in the fiction section, little new books over here. That was one of my photo booths over as well, my first book fair. That was a lot of fun. And I have paperbacks and hardbacks in this section. And I have been, as the kids aren't able to really touch books at this point, I've been trying to put some of my new books out on display. And then we also help with the Chromebooks coming in and checking out. So I have like several different places where I get those Chromebooks from. But yeah, then my little book bug, bookmobile, as I deliver books to classes. Yeah.
Julia, you said two things that I want you to say a little bit more about. And one is tell us about your Scholastic Book Fair. And the second one is hybrid. Like, I think that's another good thing for all of us to share is like, where is your school district in terms of CDL hybrid? Like, how's it going?
Well, at this point with the hybrid, I do see some kids on a limited basis. We have like a blue week and a gold week, to where I see part of the kids in here, part of a classroom in here on 1 week, and then I see the other half of the classroom the next week. So it's a busy schedule, but it works. And then I go online with the kids that are all CDL and have my library class that way. And as far as my book fair, I really missed that. This year we didn't get to have that. But it is an absolutely huge deal here. And we have an awesome community that absolutely gets into the book fair as much as the kids do. And we've raised some pretty nice funds to be able to buy books for the library through Scholastic. So it is a huge deal. The kids and I look forward to it all year long.
Right. And I'm told from the reps that it's one of the biggest, most successful book fairs in the region, which is awesome and speaks volumes to the good work that Julia is doing in our school district. All right. Thank you so much. I think we're probably ready to head on over to the middle school. Thanks for joining us, Julia. So
Thank you.
You bet. And be done. Take it away.
Yeah, so this is the middle school. I'll kind of get out of the way. So this is kind of our front entrance area. And then things are kind of looking a little bit different just because of quarantine, like I'm sure most of your libraries are as well. But here, let me flip it around really quick. All right, so I have the jankiest rig probably imaginable to get this set up, but it's mostly made of masking tape and random boxes. So, so we've been trying to kind of reimagine like the space for the library. And one of the awesome things about this library is we have these really cool tables just kind of everywhere. And so like right now we can't have seating because students can't like hang out in the library for very long. So we kind of repurposed the tables just to kind of display all these amazing books that we just got. And then we're also still trying to promote different monthly kind of genres or groups of books. So this month we're doing National Poetry Month. We're trying to advertise that. And something that my personal goal is for this library is to really overhaul the collection and really try to diversify it as much as possible, because that's been an issue for a very long time here. So it's a work in progress, but that's kind of my big goal this year. So these tables are kind of like trying to display as much like diverse books and diverse diverse authors as possible. And I've gotten a lot of really positive comments, both from staff, but mostly from students. They're really happy to see those kind of books out on the shelves. So yeah, I'll kind of spin us around. I don't want to get anybody sick, but so my library is kind of set up interestingly. It's almost like a maze with all these different shelves. The kids love them. There's so many little nooks and crannies that they can go and hide into. So, but something that I did a couple years ago now is I restructured the entire fiction section into genres. And it was a really big task, and I had a lot of awesome student helpers to help me. But we're kind of continually trying to upgrade those. And so something that I did this year was make these little tags on the side of the bookshelves. Now, let me see if I can readjust this a little bit. So I went to school for graphic design, so that was pretty fun just to try to make these. And we have some awesome machines on campus that can print off these really cool stickers. So just trying to make it so that the system is a little bit easier for students to find stuff. And what's really awesome is to look at the circulation numbers and actually see how much has like improved when we swap to genres.
It tripled your library's circulation. Genrefying did.
Yeah, it's amazing. Oh, I see a question in there. So I'm from the Siuslaw Middle School, so here in Florence, Oregon. And then Jen is our district librarian too in the same district. So but yeah, so we still have a lot of work to do. Obviously, we're still working on kind of like upgrading our nonfiction and stuff as well. But we're trying to get like graphic novels, trying to really get books that the students are really interested in and recommending. And I've still been able to stay in contact with students even when we were in quarantine enough to get some really awesome book recommendations, so that now that they're back in person, they're kind of ravenously chewing through some of these books, and it's been really awesome to see that. So yeah, I guess, is there any questions or anything like that?
Feel free to jump in and ask any questions at any point in time. Hey, I was just going to follow up and say, yep, the genre tripled the middle school circulation when I look at historical data. And then Andreas is doing such an amazing job with EDI books. We just got a grant from a local establishment for more EDI books. And a really cool thing that we're doing in June, the first week of June, as a district team, we're doing an EDI walkthrough all of our library spaces. So we're going to go from building to building to building. And we have like our reps from our special ed department, counseling department, title department, anyone our ELL department. We're going to make it festive and just go on a parade through the school libraries. And we're using the OLA anti-racism toolkit, which is awesome. And we're also using that toolkit in every single morning if and when we do a virtual check-in, our library staff, we're processing and discussing like page by page, because that toolkit is heavy and hefty, but it needs to be done. So I'm very loquacious. Andreas knows that. Does anyone have any questions for Andreas?
I do. Hi, this is Susan. I'm in Portland. Did you, in genre find, did you also extend that then to the catalog? Or, okay, so that, and do you have just the
Yes.
one middle school there? Okay.
Yep, just one middle school. Yep. Yeah, so it was quite a process. We ended up, it was just me. And so this was before Jen was actually here. So we didn't have a district librarian. So it was basically me and a couple student aides. And I had one student aide in particular that was really, really helpful and stayed like during some of his days off. It was pretty cool to get it done because he was really invested in getting it fixed and stuff. But yeah, it was quite a process, and I'm sure Liz can attest to that. It's basically we had to, so actually if we move it along over here, this entire corner, I can aim it a little bit better. This entire corner is our fiction right there. And so we had to pull out all of the books, loosely sort them based off of table by general genre, and then we'd have to go in and change every single record for every single book by hand. And then, yeah, so we ended up doing a sticker system. And so each genre has its own symbol and color. So that way it's easier for me to, to see the book, obviously, but it's also easier for kids to like recognize what section they're in. But also it made it so that we didn't have to go and change the physical call numbers on every single books yet. It's kind of a, it's kind of a foot in the door system, and eventually we want to change all those call numbers to reflect the genres and stuff, but right now that's kind of how it works.
You're kind of changing those as they trickle in, is that correct?
Yes, and especially like any new books that we're getting, obviously we're doing the updated system and stuff, but I still have to do a lot of weeding. That's one of the big goals that I need to do as well. And then I think after that, after we weed a bunch, then we're going to go in and really try to overhaul those call numbers. But it works right now. The kids don't really, it doesn't matter what's on the call number. The kids will figure it out if there's a sticker on it. So I figured that'll work for now.
All right, Andreas, thank you so much. You have such a beautiful library. And let's head on over to Liz. And I know we're kind of a little bit behind the tentative timeline I set, but we'll be all good. So Liz, go ahead and take us for a lap.
Okay. So right here is the entrance to our library.
And we're now at the Siuslaw High School Library. And just a fun fact, we have a district office, one elementary, one middle school, one high school. They're literally all down the same road. I love to tell people when we need to get a Chromebook cart from one building to the next, you literally push them down the sidewalk. That's a fun and beautiful fact about our school district.
Yeah, so this is the entrance. And then right down here, we have a computer pit with desktops for students. And then immediately right here is the circulation desk. So this is where kids come to check out Chromebooks and books. And then my office is right there. And then these are actually some books I weeded today. I was able to finish the whole nonfiction section except for some books in this island right here. I still have a couple to do, but I was able to get that done today so I can start genrefying next week. And then these are some I already have discarded. And then these are the new EDI books that we have. I copied Andreas. They had a really great idea and I liked their setup with how they displayed their books. So I decided to display mine. And then I have a couple more over here. Right here. And then this is also where the graphic novels are right now because of genrefying. And this is our fiction section right in here. So we have a really nice open concept in our library. And these are actually some books that Hope started genrefying right before she left. And then over here, we have our nonfiction section, which is looking a little bare bones because we weeded, but we're gonna shift it all over to these shelves right here. So
Look
that
at
way
those
we can
open
expand.
shelves with breathing room. Isn't that like a lovely sight to see, to actually have breathing room on some bookshelves?
Yeah. And then this is actually our portable teaching station. We have teachers coming in and teaching in the libraries. So I decided to Jen and I decided to set it up, and we actually had some leadership students come in and make posters. So these are going to get hung up around the school, and then more desktops. And then the youth transition program office is in here. So that's Angela in there.
Which our libraries have partnered with her classes, and that's a program for striving students, hooking them up with the community and jobs down the road. We've done several virtual field trips specifically for those students in that class. Yep.
Yeah, and we're working with her to create a book list for her students. I believe she has 4 seniors that we're working for that class to have books about different types of careers.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Is there anything else you want to share? We have big plans for all of our district libraries. I gave everyone assignments of mapping out their library and then embedding. Where do you want your maker space to be? Where do you want your digital editing podcasting station to be? So we're planning on adding a bunch of tech to our district libraries beginning next fall. So we're reimagining and re-envisioning. So thank you so much, Liz. That was awesome. Again, reminder, put shout outs on the Padlet. And next on our tour is going to be Redmond. So that's Miss Pia. Miss Pia, are you ready for us?
Right. Okay, I'm ready. The only thing, I don't have a camera. I cannot turn the camera. So it's going to try to do
No
my
worries, Pia. We will roll with it. Honestly, we understand the struggle. I've done these virtual tours with like literally every type of device. And you know, I understand the struggle. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, here's the entrance. I'm going to just show you here because here we have a little box because we have I don't know if you can see those kind of things that are kind of like ads from from renting a place, but there is something that occurs to me inspiring with Pablo Neruda, and it's called The Poets Ask and Students Respond. In this case, it's Huskies Respond because I ask the staff and the kids to respond. So I grab kind of in poems, it's kind of a lot of work, but because you have to find questions in poems and cite them and in which book it is. And so there are a bunch of questions and students and staff, they have to respond to that question. Like, for example, is one of Neruda that is why, how do the seasons know how they can change their shirt? So it's, and I'm trying to encourage students. So every week I draw 2 students and 1 staff and I announce them. So that is the entrance of the library. And here this used to be, and I remember 2006, this used to be the fiction section. And now they changed it as a meeting room that so far has been part of all the students that are part of the staff students, children. They stay here. They have been staying with me since December, I think. So they merged them all. At the beginning, they were in different classes, but there were too many staff supervising them. So at the end, it was better to have them all in the library. So this is where is my kind of work. One office is now the counselor office, and the other one is the working area for the library. And this is the desktop with very fun things to clean. So, and here is like some where I use some display displays. And here is a bunch of Chromebooks that I'm in charge now of troubleshooting them, which is not fun, but it's all right. At least it's a way to get a connection with the students. We are just starting, we started to be hybrid in January, not in January, at the end of February. And next Monday, we start all together. We start to be full-time, all students, until 1:10. So it's not until 2:30, but until 1:10, but every day. So that is a big change for Redmond. So, and then from here, so that you know, this library was with 14,000 copies that they were all crammed. I mean, between in this area. I don't know if you can see it. So on the way that it was before was in fiction section, was in the middle, in the mobile shelves, and on the wall was non-fiction were here, and fiction, they were on the wall. So I changed them all. There were 14,000 copies. I weeded like 3,500 and still was very conservative. Not so much the nonfiction because that was easy to weed out, but the fiction was a lot of like thinking and checking and also, so I have a lot of books set aside. And the most surprising for me was about all the books that I have been reading about indigenous people, that they're completely wrong. I mean, and there are lots of them and not too many of unvoiced. And so even books that the one that was in the Oregon Battle of the Books, and I don't remember the name. I mean, Braving Brother Bear or something like that. I don't remember exactly the name, but that was a no-no now. But anyway, so I have a permanent sub that she loves to do kind of graphic and stuff. So she just did that. So I really like that. We haven't gentrified because with the weeding, I think that was enough for me. But at least what I'm doing is like, for example, here I put all the short stories, and I kind of like putting like the labels mystery, and I'm changing the location. I'm not going to change that they're fiction and the author, because that, if you change your mind, you have to go again in the computer and change everything. Because I was in the elementary library, and the librarian before, she gentrified everything, but she changed I mean, she put like the books, like family, feelings and stuff, but they changed the author. She didn't put the author in the computer or on the label. I think in the computer they stayed, but on the labels, she covered them, which is very easy to shelve them, but it's not very easy when somebody asks you, I want so-and-so book, because you have to look all the shelves. So I'm not going to do that. And here in this area used to be the reference section. I got rid of the reference section because I put them all like integrated. I hope that somebody check out the reference books. So, and these are all the series. So I put all the series together. Before they were like hidden in a corner. And so I thought, and here is a small section of graphic novels and jokes and riddles and quick reads. I mean, things like that. So, and one thing that I put, I'm going to show you because it's kind of silly, but maybe some of you might recognize those books I mean, I weeded them, but I thought that they were kind of cute. And actually this one, these are the Judy Bloom that probably are kind of like like first edition or something, and I thought I would keep them. And I did. I put all the DK, the eyewitness all together, and also kind of field guides. I put them together just to give, I mean, especially kids, sometimes they don't even know. I mean, like, okay, you have to do a report of something. Oops, sorry. And they, to give them ideas of what they can, because sometimes they say, I don't know. So it's kind of like a way of just giving them ideas of things that they can do. The library, the average of the library was 1996. I'm probably still that age because I have like $1,500. And I was happy to see that you guys, all the books that you show there in the middle school, I was like, oh, I have that in my list. I'm going to get that one and that one. But it's not, it's going to be a drop in the ocean. I hope eventually I can get a better library. This library hasn't been weeded since it was born, I think. So this is the library, and like you can see, it's pretty messy still, but you should have seen it before.
Pia, your library is beautiful. I think all library spaces are beautiful. And thank you so much for giving us a lap around. Does anyone have any questions for Miss Pia before we move on to Portland? And if it makes you feel any better, Pia, I think our high school library at the beginning of the school year, when I ran the report, collection age was 1983. 1987, it was old.
Well, that doesn't feel me. I don't feel better with oh no, I guess, but now it's better. Now you yeah.
Okay, well, you can continue to drop comments on the Padlet or in the chat. Otherwise, we'll head on over to Portland's public schools. And I'm going to put the, oh wait, the Padlet link. I'm going to just put the Padlet link one more time in here. And you did have some shout outs for your library, Miss Pia. Big, beautiful open classroom on the Padlet. Love that you have an interactive poetry activity right on the door, right when you walk in. That's so cool. So, okay, Portland Public Schools.
All right, here I am. I'm at Selwood Middle School. And
hey, will you tell us how many schools total and how many students does Portland serve? I know it's a lot.
I believe there are 80 libraries and 40,000 students, maybe more, 50,000 students. And I do an elementary school and a middle school currently. And I'm in my nonfiction section here, which I just inventoried today. And you can see the Starry Night up behind me. That's by our art teacher, and it's made out of plastic bottle caps, which I think is pretty cool. And this building was built in 1914. And this is a big mural in the library. And it used to be, this room used to be the auditorium, and then it was turned into the library. And I'm going to go by one of the entrances here and show you what I've done here. This is like the back entrance, but a lot of people use it. And I have the ALA, American Library Association, Library Bill of Rights posted for the kids. And then I have You Are on Clackamas Chinook Land posted for the kids. And I'll tell you more about that in a second when I get over to the circulation desk. We are not genreified. And we are starting hybrid next week, and the library is going to be a classroom for a couple teachers. And now I'm going up these stairs because it used to be the auditorium. And we've got this nice case right here, display case. I'll try and get off the glare. And I've got some really cool artwork from the Amplifier Group. I don't know if you guys have heard of them, but they check it out. It is amazing. And we've got our yearbooks in here, and our signed author copies in there. And one of our copies is, we have an alum that came and did an author visit in the fall in my Google Meet, and that was pretty cool. And let's see what else. You can see our big old windows over there that are so beautiful. And then here, I also have a poetry display. The kids haven't been back yet, but I don't think you can see that. But it's the 2021 National Poetry Month poster. I guess there, you can see a little better there with some cool art. And then I've got some poetry books on display. And then we've gotten a lot of new books in, so I just put them on display in our really cool display cases all along there. And a lot of equity and diversity and inclusion books there. And our kids love series, so I've got a lot of series. They're really into Marie Lou, I always say because I speak French. And here's our circulation desk. Right here, we got our nice library assistant put up the sign that says, welcome back, the books missed you for when they come back next week. And so when I showed you the sign about the Clackamas Chinook tribal land that we're on here, I had a group of students that I did a class with, and one of the high schools up in Portland was getting rid of a novel set called Ishi, Last of His Tribe. So I took it, and then I found out that one of our students here's grandmother was the author of the book. So we did a pull-out class, and it lasted a couple semesters. It was like a library seminar class, and we read along, and we went on a field trip to the Portland Art Museum for a art exhibit by Native Americans. And then across the street, we walked over and we went to the Oregon Historical Society and looked at original land grant maps from 1854. And we looked specifically at the site of Selwood School. And the kids, we decided we wanted to find out what tribe were the stewards of the Selwood site here. So we figured it out, and we sent our results or our evidence that we collected down to David Lewis, who's at OSU professor, Oregon State University. And he was also the Grand Ronde tribal historian. And he verified our results, and we asked him for some Chinook language. And then he told us, and this is kind of hard to see. It didn't turn out the way I'd hoped, but this says site of the Walmut village. And being a French speaker, I know that that's the Chinook, and then the colonizers, the French made it Willamette, right? So it says site of the Walnut Village, Clackamas Chinook tribe, and it says Hayu Masai, which is Chinook for welcome. So we had that in the library, and I was so proud of the students because they did not want their names on it, because that would have been more like colonizing. And I had them give me some feedback, like what have you learned from this? And one person was like, just a general ed student was like, I would have never picked up that book, but it was the most amazing experience, and I'll look at books differently from now on. And another student said, we are trying to right the wrongs of the past. And I had given no prompting for that, so it was pretty amazing. And then we have a little free bookshelf here that we keep filling up with our weeded books. And I think we have a really cool book return that I just have to show you from Miss Paula made this. It's an old mailbox, and it's all decorated by the art elective people. And we do have really cool art, let's see, book covers that the art elective also made to decorate the library. So it's really cool. And then we have, oh my gosh, then we've got also our big bags of Let's Get Reading bags we've been handing out for library book bag exchange.
Hey, say more about that. I love the concept. Can you tell us a little more about that? The book bags?
The book bags. So every week we have down by one of our entrances, we have our library assistants there, and the kids bring a bag back and get a new one. And also when I push into their classes, like their AVID classes or their math classes or whatever, they'll tell me I never would have picked up those books that were in those bags, and I love them and I learned so much. They love it. And then at my elementary school where I work, we exchange 200 bags a week, and it's drive-through there. This one's walk up, but it's cool here because the kids walk up themselves, but I get to talk to so many families. I've made so many more connections with families at the elementary level because of the Let's Get Reading book bag exchange. It's just stunning, really. Then Then we got some workrooms with textbooks tucked away in there. And we've got this bank of computers that are all still under wraps and some of our old novel sets that we're working on. And I think that's a pretty good tour. So I can stop there.
Questions for Laura. Laura on the Padlet, book bag exchange, genius. Love your Indigenous inclusivity. Laura is really good about including local community with her program. Hard to do at halftime, but you do it at both schools. Awesome. Does anyone have questions for Laura? What a fabulous space, Laura.
I'm lucky.
I have a question, but it's more related, and I don't know, was during my reading, the book that you mentioned, the Ish, was one that was the, and I can understand. I mean, it's not like I'm going to censor. I put them aside just to study them more and to talk to teachers about them, because one of the big criticisms about those books were that they were taken from the point of view of kind of like anthropological point of view. I mean, thinking that Native Americans have disappeared and they're kind of a thing and an artifact to study instead of human beings, that they're alive, that they have a, so in that sense, that is the way that was the criticism. I mean, that especially, I mean, it's in the American Indian children's literature, a blog post, they put it, I mean, and I know, I mean, the way you did it, I mean, I think that was amazing, because, I mean, you have the grandma of one kid was the person that wrote it. So I think that is really important also for them. But so for me, it's kind of like, how do I approach this? I mean, my reading or my way of, I don't
Like,
know.
what's our go-to source? How do we know? Yeah,
Right.
Laura, what were you gonna say?
I was going to say that, of course, that was like the whole theme, because we brought in articles about urban Native people, homeless people, and we talked about all of that. And if I still had that group, we would add now that Professor Krober, who brought Ishi out, and part of the problem is there's no written language for the Native people. So this is what we have. And that doesn't make it right. We have their oral tradition, but it also tells us what we did as white people. It's a historical record of what we did to Ishi, which was put him in a museum to live. He got tuberculosis. Professor Krober never wanted his body sent away, but it did get separated. And now they've taken his name off of the building at Berkeley. And
Yeah.
of course we would talk about that. So, I mean, it's just how you approach it, I think, and being
Yeah, no,
honest, which the whole thing is about being honest. So
exactly. I mean, that is what I was curious. I mean, but what you explain, it seems
the kids
to me
got the
we have
message.
really great conversation, and maybe that is the reason to keep those books. Is if you give the kids the background, but because you need to give them the background, I mean, they cannot. I don't know. That is my
It's really complex, isn't it?
yeah.
Really complex.
Yep.
I was lucky that the teacher gave me those students for that months that I got to work with them a couple times a week. It was amazing.
Beautiful, like absolutely beautiful, everything that you're doing. Any other questions for Miss Laura before we head on over to Eugene? And I don't mean to cut anyone short by any means. I'm trying to honor time. I believe in starting on time, ending on time. We have about 10 minutes left. So yeah, hop in, ask questions, put stuff in the chat, put stuff on the Padlet. Thank you again, Miss Laura. And Eugene, are you ready?
Yes, we are. All right, so I'm gonna flip my camera around for you so you can see Miss Julie. She's gonna give us a tour of her library.
The school is 2 stories high, so I'm in the center of the school. So I have a very high ceiling. It has all of my fun lights in it.
And we are at Howard Elementary in Eugene.
And this is North Eugene off River Road.
Hey, remind us, how many students do you serve? How many buildings do you have total in the district? I forget.
So we have Howard Elementary has 500 in their school, right? 500
On an
plus?
average, yeah.
Yeah. And then Eugene has 32 schools, 4 high schools, 8 middle schools, and 22 elementaries. Yeah, with like 17 plus thousand kids total. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, show us the way.
Alrighty, directly behind us is my office.
She's got a beautiful space. So one thing about, this is one of our newer schools, right? How old is Howard?
5 years, I think. now.
5 years
Okay.
old.
Yeah.
And so, you know, this what Julie was just telling me about, how when they originally designed it, she did get some give some feedback, but not fully. So
Not
she's
fully,
one of those lovely designs where they thought it'd be really cool to put the library in the middle of the school without any walls, right? Yeah. So
So that's fun. The beams in the top of my office, I don't have a ceiling, I have beams. I don't know if you can see those. Those came from my old school. So that's part of the repurposing we did from the old Howard that was built in like the 50s. So not quite as old as one, but you can see more from here.
and
We
you can
have-
just see, like, this is the bookshelves kind of separate her space from the rest of the school.
is we have walkways all around the library. This is one entrance that is behind Amy. This one I normally come in. This leads you into my fiction section. I have all of my bookcases covered in plastic as we just started hybrid. So this is still very new for us, and we are holding a couple of title classes in the library, but our kids are still sequestered pretty much in their classroom. So I'm doing book delivery to each classroom. I zoom in and visit each class. So we have all of our bookcases covered in plastic to protect them. This section is like my popular book section for chapter books. And I have them kind of color coded. So my greens are like my early chapter books. My blues are my popular chapter books. So you have my branches, which is always a great go-to for my kids.
Chapter books that are series, right?
Yeah, most of these are series. You've got Bad Keys, so these are series. Bad Guys, of course.
Hey, those
that's
bins with the handles are amazing, by the way. Those
They were a
handles.
game changer. Let me tell you, because they can just pull it out and go to set it on the table, and they can just gather around and talk about books. It was awesome. So, fiction kind of wrapped around the corner. Get this way. My story nooks where the kids can go in and read. They're covered up right now because we can't use them right now, but they're little nooks with lights in them with pads, and they can crawl in there and read books. It's really fun.
Yeah. So
Get out.
the first time I came here, I was like, oh my gosh, these are so awesome. Of course, not thinking it is a little bit of a management nightmare, but she's mastered it.
Yeah,
She's
we
totally
assign
mastered it.
types, so it's really fun. Across the front of the windows is my nonfiction section, and we are not a genre-fied library as I run it by myself, and I don't have time to do it yet. It's a wish that I want to do really bad. But my big windows look outside to a wonderful courtyard, which is beautiful to look at. We've added plants this year to add some color.
So our district has a rule that, so she hosts a class in here for an hour. And so if you have classes in here and there's an outbreak, the space has to be sprayed down. And so that's the reason for the plastic to protect the books if that does have to happen. And another reason why she does not have books on display because of the spray that might have to happen. So that's why you're seeing all of these tables facing the same direction like that.
Yeah.
Hey,
It's
Miss
not her
Amy,
normal.
Amy, I know you probably said it, but did you say you're going back into hybrid? You are in hybrid?
We are. So
Okay.
she's in elementary. They've been in since a couple weeks before spring for
Third
2
through
weeks.
fifth just started last week. K1 started the week before that.
Yeah.
So we're real new at going into hybrid. Our middle school just started this week.
Yeah.
So we're still kind of testing the waters to see how this is all going to play out. But so far, the kids are really excited. So
Yeah. And we are not allowed at this point, even though the state says it's okay, that we're not bringing kids to full classes to the library at a time. So so she does she'll show you this in a second, her online book checkout still and delivers to classes.
this section right over here. So this is for my littles, I call them, pre-K through first, second grade, because this is all of my picture books. So I had shorter shelves, so they're easier access for my smaller students. And then I have a Spanish section because we have a diverse school. So I have a Spanish section that is in the process of being weeded and updated. So we're going to have a new, hopefully, face on our Spanish section in the library next year. So I'm really super excited about that. I kind of tried to make it so I have a lot of Disney fans in my school. So I have I was gifted a full set of Disney books. So I put them all out on one shelf so they can pull them out on the floor and they can look at them in a normal school year and sort them all out and see all the princesses and all the fun things. We have my kinders in a normal school year will come to my library every morning to check out a book to exchange. So we set up an entire I Can Read leveled reading section for them with their favorite books in bins, easy access, easy for them to find. And they were able to take 2 home every night and read with their family, bring them back in exchange. So that was really fun.
And then you have to show them. Okay, so I told you have to show them the reading. So she does it like normal. She have tables in here and then she reads aloud. This library is so cool in this respect because she has this.
I have a story cove.
She has
Which
a
is-
story
At the moment, it's
cove.
full of furniture, but I have little windows and there's, if you can see, there's little risers in here the kids can sit on.
So it's totally full of furniture right now, but
Yeah.
it's usually like this beautiful space. And again, it's a lovely idea, but then she also
I don't have a ceiling.
is open. I mean, there's no ceiling in there. So kids transition, like you can
And
see
there's
the
a stairwell
catwalk.
right here. There's a stairwell right behind me.
Yeah. So they walk up the stairs, but she reads in here. It is lovely. It's really like a whole, it's beautiful when the kids aren't walking by during story time.
And when they do, we just pause until they're done and then we start up again.
Yeah.
I mean, we've grown accustomed to it, so it's fine. We have a catwalk up here. This is really fun. It's a suspended walking bridge from one side of the school to the other. So they think that's really fun.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, that's kind of, oh, why don't you show them what you're doing with the checkout? So
okay.
she has kids, she visits classes all day long via Zoom because we're still keeping people really separate in their cohorts. So kids will get online, just like we did with curbside and reserve books via Destiny, and put them on hold. And then go ahead, explain what you do.
So once they put them on hold and Destiny, I pull the books, I check them out to the student, I put them in a bag labeled with their name, their teachers, and then I will take this upstairs, deliver it to the classroom. They keep the books in their bags at their desk or when they take them home. And they can keep them for a week or 2 or however long they want to. I mean, and then when they return these, we have a library bin next to the door in their classroom. They will put the books in there and I will come around with these fancy little things.
Look at her fancy.
My secretary is amazing. She got these for me. They have a handle and I'm going to walk around the hallways and collect my books.
We all need those rolly bins. Those are
I know, aren't they
amazing.
amazing?
I have them at Home Depot. They're awesome. So I thought that this would be a really good way to quarantine my books and keep them safe until I can check them in. So, and it was portable. So
Yeah, so each kid has 2 bags, one bag that ends up in quarantine and one full of books that is with them. So
and they are allowed to go into Destiny and reserve books as often as they want to. They don't have to wait for their library time. So if they're reading through them quickly or they would like to get more books, they can, and then I will just take them to the classroom. So
yeah, she's got it down. That's about it. That's our tour right there.
that's it. And I just Zoom from my office. So
Your space is absolutely gorgeous and amazing. It is 401, so pop out if you need to. Does anyone have any questions for our awesome Eugene team? I am so impressed with all of the cubbies and the little handle bins and the rolly things and the nooks in the wall. Like, oh my goodness, what other questions or comments do we have?
I've got a question for you, and that's regarding your space. Given, I mean, it sounds to me like you kind of are being generous about the idea of how they set it up for you, where you're an open space, and that you've made it work, obviously. And with your good classroom management, that's definitely what requires that. But as Eugene goes forward, is your feedback, is there a way for Eugene to collect feedback from projects going forward? Because we're doing that in Portland as we are remodeling and rebuilding schools right and left. Well, not right and left. It's a long struggle. Any kind of rebuild is.
True.
But you know, trying to support really good decisions at the administrative level, it's sort of like having somebody design your kitchen who doesn't cook. And
Yes.
That's kind of what it was like.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
I know.
are you
I
finding
can.
that?
Have anybody asked you?
So
or-
when they went to last spring, they were, because we have new schools being built. So I had an architect team come in and talk to me and ask me the pros and cons of what they designed. So I gave them all my pros, and then I gave them the cons, and I gave them why certain things weren't working. And I really advocated for the new schools to have walls and doors, for the simple fact the library should be a quiet space and a safe place for students to come and relax and regenerate. And it's really hard to do that when you have classes transitioning around you all the time. So as far as I know, they have really tried to consider what we've said about having a library as a more closed, contained space, because it's also not secure. So like when you have summer school, which we have every year, I have to really try to wrap my shelves and have things blocking off my library. Otherwise, I will have kids and people in my library over the summer without me here. So we've had to really kind of like take extra measures to make sure that it's safe, or if you have extra functions in school, your library is completely exposed and open, which is great because everybody gets to see it. We have wonderful community support, and I love that part. It's just sometimes you wish you could lock the doors and you can't.
Yeah.
So I know that one of our schools, Edison, has walls. We will have doors, and I
Yeah.
encourage them to. We had some people come look at our school just a few weeks ago to talk about furniture. And I encourage them to not put classroom furniture in the library if possible, to go back to wooden tables and wooden chairs and make it a softer space. And their comment was, well, these are easier to clean. And I said, not really. So I said, they're really not. I said, my janitors, I had an easier time cleaning my wooden tables versus these. And I said, it just makes an easier space for the kids to feel welcome.
Yeah.
And I
And
think I need it too.
Yeah. Awesome.
So
And I think too, like just having your library in a central space is beautiful. But you can still have it be the center of something with windows and
Mhm.
doors. And I know our process, we're having a new high school built, which is like crazy. And
That's not too
in
far
that
from here.
process, I was kind of excited because they asked me some questions and I got to pull in, obviously. Well, yes, I think it's great you included me, but how about the librarian who's actually in there as well? So she and I got to meet with them to kind of talk about what that space would look like. Because my experience is mostly in libraries as elementary, so I definitely wanted her feedback for what the high school should look like. So they did include that, and she got to actually give feedback with the architects to say, you know, here's some things that won't work that you've got planned, and to also add what she would really like to see. So once the layout was done, like she didn't have much say on that, but she got to talk about, you know, just spaces within and that sort of thing. So I think they are trying to be more Because we had like 3 schools built in this time period with this
Mhm.
same open concept like this. So like, and the other 2 are even worse. Like,
Yeah.
they have rolling shelves that the kids push all the time out in, it's just, so, I think they learned from that, hopefully.
I think so.
Sounds like it.
Well, I just tried, my big thing was just giving them pros and cons so they can see what works and what doesn't. And I really hope that would make a difference.
Yeah.
And I think it did.
And as much as we want our libraries to also be like opportunities to be quiet spaces, there are also times for collaboration and conversation and
And you have to be
and
able to hear each
building
other
and creating. And we want, sometimes they get loud and we don't want to disturb other people.
Right, because
So
we do have to, because if you do so if I have a big screen that comes down in front of my window, so if I wanted to play, something on my screen or do some teaching on the screen, it goes all the way through the school. So, so if we're doing something fun and exciting, and we're really getting into, a read aloud or something, that most of the school hears us.
Yeah. So anyway, I think long story short, I think they're starting to listen. And they're including us in that conversation. So that's been nice.
I've been getting quite a bit of traction because I'm pulled into all of the remodels that we're doing, but it's always a different architect team. So you're just schooling
Yes.
architect teams over and over. And most of the time they come from experience in community colleges. And even our high school students, a 14-year-old high school boy is not a community college.
No, right? It's
But
very different.
I've been getting a little bit more traction by reminding them that libraries are an instructional space and that we need everything that a classroom has and then some, not just the library and then throw in a corner for instruction. It's like I need a classroom size area in a high school library plus everything else. So you're seeing across our districts as we share those stories, maybe we can change the face of architects.
Yeah, right? Totally.
Yeah,
that's fun. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yes, thank you so much, everybody. We are about 8 minutes over. It's all good. Any final comments? Any final questions or comments? I truly loved this experience. I think it's my favorite PD session, honestly, of all school year, of all the sessions that I've attended. Again, your ordinary is extraordinary to someone else. We all do amazing things every day and we don't realize it because we're just used to going about our business of, doing the things that we do. It's so enlightening to see inside of everyone else's spaces and to talk about like where we're at with hybrid and how we're handling all of that. I just want to thank everyone so much. I would love to do this again. I mean, I don't know if we have brain cells to do it again before the end of the school year, but maybe even if OASL plans something like once a quarter, I don't know. I love this. I love this experience.
Thanks for bringing us together.